All right, thank you. Like John said, my name is Jordan Hoewischer, Director of Water Quality and Research with Farm Bureau. Grew up on a swine operation, breeding stock and show pigs down in Shelby County. Had corn, soybeans, wheat, all that good thing. So what we're going to talk about today is the Ohio Nutrient Management Record Keeper. We call it OnMark. So this is a project that came up through Knox County through one of our water quality grant programs. So Knox County Farm Bureau, Knox County Soil and Water decided there was a need once some of the legislation that came out that we need something to record the stuff we need to record for our fertilizer certifications and also for the weather restrictions in the Western Lake Erie Basin. It gives an opportunity to do that a little bit cleaner than what you might have in other situations. So we're going to buzz through this real quick. I know you guys know a lot about Senate Bill 1. That gives the weather restrictions for when you can and can't apply your fertilizer and manure in Western Lake Erie Basin. This is probably the a millionth time I've had to say it, but I still have to read it because it's that confusing. You can't apply fertilizer if there's a 50% chance of more than 1 inch of rain in a 12-hour forecast. And then for manure, it's 50% chance of 1/2 inch in the 24 hours. So obviously written to be a little bit hard to remember, but that's the kind of weather restrictions we're dealing with up in Western Lake Erie Basin. And then there's the can't apply on frozen or snow covered ground, and then incorporate within 24 hours of application. Senate Bill 150. How many people are certified fertilizer? Had your fertilizer certification? Raise your hand. So the deadline for that is September 30, 2017. So if you apply fertilizer to 50 acres or more, you need to be certified. There's classes all over the state. There's field days all over the state this summer. That'll probably be the best bet to kind of learn something, but also get that certification without having to sit in a chair for 3 hours. If you have your pesticide license, it's only a 2-hour class. And then upon recertification time, you can get both of those at the same time starting in 2018 if that's when you're due up. Nearly 14,000 farmers have been certified so far. So we got a few more to go on that. So the reason why I bring up those legislations, there's a long list of record keeping you have to keep per application, and then this is what OnMark will provide. I don't need to, run through them all. It's similar to pesticide, weather at the time, amount that you applied, the acreage that you applied it to, that type of stuff. So the app, you can find it in the Google Store, Apple Store, under ONMRK. You can search for it. It's got a green Ohio symbol. It's a free app. So, Farm Bureau has provided this with grant money, and sees no need to make money off of trying to just comply with laws. The easy thing, we just updated it, so it's a little easier. So if you are a user of this app, before you had to register on the website and then go back into the app, you can pull up the app right now, throw in your information, and you're ready to go, and then you can start putting in your fields. If you want to register on the website, you can, onmrk.com, and you can register and log in, and then we'll talk about how the website kind of interacts with your application records. Also, if you have a question, just throw your hands up, and I'll be very happy to answer that. I'm going to buzz through it real quick for time. So probably the most unique and best feature, especially for people in the Western Lake Erie Basin, is the weather. So how many people see a forecast every day? Because we know we love the weather. That gives you the percent chance and the amount of rain in the next 12 or 24 hours. How many people have a few? Yeah, little cumbersome. When you go through your fertilizer training, the trainer will say, well, go to weather.gov, go to the 12 or 24 hour forecast, add up the incremental rain amounts you're going to get per hour, and then that's the amount. Pretty cumbersome, not something you want to do when you're busy on the farm. So this gives you, it's kind of hard to see. I gave you 2 examples here. This gives you the 12-hour, the 24-hour gives you the percent chance, and then how much, and that'll be instantly. It refreshes instantly, so you might check it at the coffee table in the morning. You can check it in the tractor, and then that weather data will go through as you make your application. And I put this one up here because this is one of the models we use as we go through. This is a 74% chance of 0.37 inches and 77% chance of 1.29 inches in the 24-hour forecast. So that'll play into some of the alerts you'll get when you move into the thing. Because if the weather's bad, no matter when you're going to apply fertilizer or manure, you have to record it. But it'll still tell you, when is a good time or not. So you can go in, pretty simple. You just put your farm in there, your home. If you're kind of chopped up, everyone's got an east farm, west field, north field, whatever you call it. You can put those specific names in there. So if you're applying the manure or fertilizer, you know where it is. Or if someone, your son or a daughter, wife, someone who's working for you under your license, needs to apply, they know exactly where they're at. So you can load all those things in. It's pretty simple. Put in the acreage, add the fields in the acres. It'll show previous applications on those fields. So kind of give you a reminder, 6 months ago I put X, Y, and Z on there. So it's all contained in the app. Then when you actually start to go in and want to record your application, you notice the green says conditions are acceptable. So that first screen, the weather was fine in your area for applications. And the other one where it showed a little bit more weather, the conditions are poor. So you'll get a little bit of a reminder that says, hey, according to the weather restrictions in your area, the conditions are poor for that application. So just another reminder if we get a little bit confused about, half inch in a 12 or 24 hour, and that kind of confusing lingo gives you a little bit of reminder automatically of what you're dealing with. And then it's very simple from there. You check manure, fertilizer, what kind of material you're putting down. You have the amount. We're just going right down the list of things that you're required to do on your certification license. So nothing special, and it's really everything's a drop-down menu. The only thing you have to write in is if you have an NPK on something that is just not a regular commercial material, like you get a nutrient, you get a manure NPK, what have you. So all that stuff's really easy for us, farmers with big hands. It's very easy to get in there and put your stuff in. You also can click: is it frozen or snow covered? Was it saturated? Did you incorporate all the things that you need to do under these legislations? And then that'll all go into your record keeping so that if someone does request for that printout, you'll have all those things there and you won't have to write anything down. I can't even tell you how many things go through the dryer that I just put in the back of my pocket, the feed sack math, all that stuff. It's really cumbersome when you're out working and you're really busy. So all that stuff will carry right through. And it actually, I'm talking about it really fast, but an application, if you're sitting in a tractor, will take literally a minute to put into the phone. One of the other features is you can check your location, and it'll give you that satellite photo of where you're at in the field. So if you're sitting right there in the tractor, it'll show you, hey, I'm right here, and you can confirm it. If it's a little off for some reason, you can move it to where you know where your field is, just to confirm that's where your location is, and that gives you even better backtracking of I put this amount on this field, so that we kind of groan a little bit about the legislation, but it's your biggest defense. All these things are your biggest defense in case someone says, hey, we think you were doing something bad, or a neighbor calls and say, hey, I saw a dragline hose in the field. What are you doing? And they call somebody, that kind of stuff. So this is for your protection, and it works out great. You can show them, hey, I was literally right here in the field when I applied this amount of fertilizer. So you can complete the application. One of the other newer features is you can email that information right out of the app to yourself, to somebody else. If you're applying for somebody, you can email that out, and you can do that in a PDF or .csv, and it's very simple. And this is a screen that says it was emailed to me in this case, and you just push OK. And then this is what the report looks like when it goes to the email. You'll have a little PDF. You can download it, and then it's in your records if you want it, or if you need to send it to somebody for some reason, it's there. And this is what that report looks like. If I applied it, that's the date. It was fertilizer. I injected it. Urea, 50 pounds an acre. These are all just dummy numbers, obviously. Where? It gives you the GPS coordinates. It gives you the weather, so it has the wind, the precipitation, and then if there's any notes that you put in there, like anything of note worthy that you want to put in there, just to remind yourself of what you did, and that'll carry on all throughout your records. Yeah, and I think anytime you can provide a complete record for yourself too is always it's always a good idea. I mean, honestly, like I think a lot of our users, even if you have a technology in your tractor or whatever that maybe is keeping track of the records, I mean, just the weather, that real-time weather alone is worth having the app on there. And then we're open to expand the app, radar, we know we all love radar, real-time information. Anything that we feel is suitable, we'll keep updating the app and keep rolling. Again, this is your application list. So if you go into the website and log in, super easy. Go to the top, it says your applications, and then you could print those out if you need to provide a paper copy, or you just want a copy for your records. It's as simple as that.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kaylee Port. As John said, I actually work for John. The app that I'm going to talk about is called Ohio State Plots. John and myself worked to get this app developed along with some of our other colleagues in the Department of Food Ag and Biological Engineering, as well as a couple of people from Hort Crop at Ohio State. So first of all, Ohio State Plots precision-led on-farm trial support. So what we're going to do is we're going to briefly run through a scenario. We're going to run through a scenario that might be familiar to some of you, and then we're going to look at how plots can be a better tool for us. All right, so the Napkin Plan. All right. I think some of you probably operate on a Napkin Plan. I see people nodding their heads, raising their hands. Okay, so the Napkin Plan. You have an idea, and you say, I really want to try something on my farm. I want to try to see if nitrogen timing will show a yield effect, okay? So you jot down your idea, maybe on a piece of paper with lines if you're wanting to get fancy. And you know that you have a traditional end plan, 180 pounds pre-plant anhydrous, maybe that's your traditional end plan. You have some equipment. You've got a 40-foot planter, 40-foot applicator, and you've got an 8-row combine. It's really nice because those numbers kind of, they line up with each other, which will make your life a lot easier in the long run. And you're going to need a study plan. But you're not really sure how to go about doing that. And you're going to need some yield data, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to compare the effect of nitrogen timing on yield. And you're probably going to need a statistician. Okay, you're going to need somebody that's really good with stats. That's your plan right now. So you come up with your study plan. And you decide to have a control area. So that's going to be your traditional nitrogen plan, your 180 pounds pre-plant anhydrous. You're going to have 3 different, forgive me here, you're going to have planter, not very tall. You're going to put down fertilizer at planting. You're going to put down fertilizer at side dress. You're going to put down fertilizer with the planter, and then late season. And then you're going to do an application at planting, side dress, and late season. And that's how you're going to divide out your nitrogen timing. And for this particular study, we're going to use our 180 pounds divided out over those different scenarios, or all up front with the planter with our control. Okay? Just to keep it easy for now. And you think, well, I'm probably going to have to make some strips to somehow keep this all organized so that we don't overlap our treatments. And we're going to have to apply accordingly, and that's where having those planters and applicators of all the same widths that match up comes in real handy. You're going to need to harvest, because you need some yield data. And then you're going to hire that college kid that's really good with numbers. And they're going to analyze your research data. Because that's, people like me aren't even good with that stuff. Okay? So we're going to take it one step into the future. We're going to use Excel. And we're going to make this. So this is kind of our study plan. And for a long time, this is how we were doing it in our office. And we're going to use Excel to make these little plots, divide out our field into plots or strips. And we're going to assign each of those plots a treatment. And we're going to randomize and replicate that and hope that we do it right and hope that we don't mess up our study and have a duplicate somewhere, because we've done that before. And we're going to write down, what our treatments are here. And we're going to take some notes, jot them down. This came out of FieldView. This is another app that we use that just shows our different strips out in the field. And then we're going to hope that, we don't lose this Excel file. And we're going to hope that we didn't make a mistake. And we're going to execute our study. Okay? So, what is this Ohio State plots? How is it going to help us? How many of you were here last year at CTC and we were talking about rolling out plots? Show of hands. So some of you kind of remember. I'm not going to go into detail about, the nitty-gritty of plots and how it came about, but Plots is an app that's available on Android and iOS. Yeah, it doesn't play well with Microsoft. Sorry. But it's a tool that's going to help us with our on-farm research. It's going to help us create randomized and replicated research trials, and it's going to function as a statistician for you. It's going to provide a space for you to take all those notes. It's going to store all of your information in the cloud through Amazon Web Service, and it's going to be safe and protected with a username and password that you set and you dictate who has access to your information. Okay, so that's in a nutshell kind of what Plots is. And Plots then will create a summary report for you at the end of the year, which you can use to make better on-farm management decisions. So using that example, okay, our Napkin Plan example, let's put that in Plots and see what Plots does for us. And if you guys have questions as we go through this, feel free to stop me and we can chat about it, because I think a lot of people who have heard about Plots just kind of need a little jump start on just figuring out how to really get in there and start using it. So now would be a great time to ask questions if you have them. And I hope you guys can all see this, but so this is what one of the screens looks like. This is what your trial screen looks like in Plots. Once you've gotten in and you've logged in and you've created a user account, it's pretty intuitive, straightforward. It takes you step by step through how to do that. But you're going to set up a new trial, okay, with that little plus button right there. And all your existing trials show up in here too, and you can sort those however you want, by date or by name. Okay, so you're going to create a new trial. But you need to have handy your number of reps that you want to use, your number of treatments that you want to use, and what those treatments are. Because you're going to put that into Plots, and Plots is going to then make you a layout, a plot layout. So you're going to, under reps, under the number of treatments, you're going to put 4 in this example. You're going to put in 4 for your number of reps. And then it's going to ask you what those treatments are. So you're going to put in control, planter and side dress, planter and late season, planter, side dress, late season. And those are your 4 different treatments. And then you're going to tell it whether you want it to lay it out horizontally or vertically. And it's going to create a plot layout for you. It randomizes and replicates everything for you. So you don't have to worry about, on your fancy Excel sheet, having a duplicate somewhere. Like I said, that happened to us just a few years ago. I mean, it's human error. Plots reduces the human error involved in randomizing and replicating. So it's going to show you your 4 different reps, and it's going to divide out each of those reps into your 4 treatments. And if you'll notice, if you guys can see that, they're randomized and they're replicated for consistency. And you can share this plot. There's an options button. You can email that, text it, put it on Facebook if you want to. Tweet about it. I don't care. You can share it. Whatever sharing functions your phone or tablet has, you can share your plot. And you dictate who you share it with, okay? So then there's a screen that allows you to put in trial information. And I think it's important that you put in as much trial information as you have, because the more information that you have, the more complete of a study that you have. It just helps you, after the fact, go back to your trial and kind of see maybe what changes could be made next year, or what other factors might have been involved in the results of your trial. And so you can put in your trial name, your number of treatments, all that stuff under the required information. Some of that will pre-populate from your plot generator. Application record, that's a nice one because you can put in the application record the dates of when you applied. That'll just open up into an area where you can type in whatever you need to type in that makes sense to you under application record. You can fill out county, state, crop, field name, what kind of hybrid you used. You can GPS and mark your field if you want. Planting date, harvest date. You can even add a custom item. So if you don't like any of our pre-programmed options, but you want to add maybe brand planter you used, okay? You can put that in there. And then you want to get out there and you want to execute your study. So here we are with our planter. Okay, remember, we want to keep our planter and our applicator and our combine all in nice divisible numbers so that we don't have weird overlaps. Okay, so here we are doing a side dress application. And then late season, we used a Hagie Highboy with a Y-drop system. Okay. Plots also offers a note-taking feature. I think this is important too. You always have these little notes throughout the season that you want to jot down, you want to remember, but then you usually end up losing that little piece of paper that you jotted it down on. Has that happened to anybody before? Maybe? Okay. So don't be afraid to take notes. Any note that you think that could be helpful probably is. So jot it down in the note taker. All right? You just add a new note. And up here we said, in plot 202, which was one of our control strips, we found that there was some insect pressure, so we were going to spray for that. Okay? What's really nice too is that you can add a picture. So you can snag a picture with your device and it stores it on Amazon Web Service, and then it'll put a link in there, and then you just click the link and it will bring up your picture. Okay? Maybe there's a tile blowout. You want to take a picture of it, you can GPS tag it so that you know right where it's at to come back to it. Okay? Lots of notes. Anything that you can add makes your study more complete. So now we're getting kind of into the bread and butter of the app. So results. Here's a series of results or result parameters that are pre-programmed into the app. Yield, grain moisture, weed control, population, or if you don't like any of the ones that we put in there that we thought would be most common, add your own. We actually, for this particular study, I think we did grain moisture content, plant height, population, and yield. And you'll see where those come into play in a few minutes. So what you're going to do is under each of those yield parameter or response parameters, you're going to click on it and it'll open up a chart that looks like this. And it'll show on the left side all of your plots, and then it'll have blanks on the right side. And that's where you're going to insert your numbers. So in this case, I'm going to show you yield. So we put our yield results from harvest under each of these plots. All right. Then in our summary report, which you can run at any time throughout the growing season, but if you're going to run it at the end and try to analyze your trial, you're going to come up with a nice long scrolling. Let me see if I can show it to you on here. Whole lot of information that you can scroll through. That's why you didn't get a screenshot, because it doesn't all show up on one screen. But it'll have all of your trial information. It'll have your plot layout. It'll have any notes that you took. And then it'll have a statistical summary of all those results that you put in. Okay, so you don't need to be a statistician. This does it for you. So from here, you can look to see that based on the different treatments that we had, control, planter, side dress, planter, late season, planter, side dress, and late season, even though our yields were different, this calculated that there's a variation of about 8%, so over 200 bushels, that's about 16 bushels. So really that's not a significant amount of difference between any of those treatment options. Okay? So no matter when you put down that 180 total pounds of N throughout the growing season, there wasn't really a statistical difference in how much yield you got back from it. So what does that all mean? Okay, what does that all mean? So do the results make sense? Like I said, 16 bushels over all those plots isn't really a huge amount. You would look at the results and see that there was a different yield over each of those treatments and think, oh, well, maybe this treatment option or treatment plan was better because I got higher yield. Well, that's not necessarily true when you think about it in the long run. 16 bushels isn't really that big of a deal. So we can think, does this make sense? So it was really warm in 2016. We had high mineralization. So maybe we didn't need to rely so heavily on that 180 pounds to get us through the growing season. Okay. Think about those results. Think about if they make sense. Okay. So the data, it's really important to know that data tells us a story. And what we do with that story to help us make decisions is what's going to get us better results in future in future growing seasons. So maybe we can spread out those applications and decrease nutrient loss up front. You put all your 180 pounds down up front and you get a big old gully washer and you end up losing a lot of your N. Or you can space it out throughout the year because you've seen that there was really, at least in 2016, there wasn't really a difference. Or maybe you get partway through the growing season and you say, well, we're looking pretty good. I'm thinking that we're going to get, some pretty good yields here this year. Maybe we don't put down that late season application because we think that, we're going to get what we need anyways. So by not putting it all down up front, you could maybe save yourself some application, or maybe you don't put down as much. But you wouldn't have known that you could think about it that way had you not done a study in the previous growing season. Okay? So again, you don't need to be a statistician. You don't need to hire somebody to crunch your numbers for you. Okay? Keep calm. Trust plots. Okay? Like I said before, you can get it at the Apple App Store and out of the Google Play Store. It's free. You can email us at ohiostateprecisionag@gmail.com if you need some support with it. We can walk you through how to use it. Hopefully we'll be meeting with a lot of our county educators to have them as a useful resource for you too if you want to start implementing plots. John Fulton, myself, Steve Coleman, Scott Shear, and Ramarao Venkatesh were all part of the team that developed plots, or had plots developed, I should say. So any of us would be a resource for you, okay, as well as your county educators.